Hello, welcome to the Code Show. This is Tuesday night and I'm here doing my Rust streaming in English, and I hope everyone is well and safe. So please say something on the chat. I see that people are there. Jairo, hello Jairo, welcome to the Code Show. Thank you again for joining us in this journey of Rust learning. And before I get started in the actual code, and before I present for you the challenge that we are going to do today, I would like to say that this episode and everything I'm doing here on this channel is sponsored by these awesome people here on this list, the supporters of the channel, and also subscribers on Twitch, subscribers on PicPay, and also everyone that's following and subscribed on YouTube and other places. So everyone is welcome to be here talking about anything. Please ask me questions, and I'm doing this in English today, but I always remind you that if you want to speak Portuguese in the chat, there's no problem. I'll read it and I will answer in English, because this is the day that I'm speaking only in English. And the idea of the Tuesdays here at the channel is that I'm learning Rust and I want you to be learning with me. So if you also want to learn Rust, you can learn with me and you can help me, because sometimes I make huge mistakes and people are helping me a lot to understand better this awesome language. And if you already know Rust, feel free to give me your hints, your suggestions. It's very nice when people on the chat helps me to understand things. Yeah, so this is the day where I'm going to learn, I'm going to make mistakes, and you are going to help me, and or you are going to learn with me. Okay, so let me close this screen. Thank you again for all the subscribers and supporters. I think I have a little problem here on my screen. The music is showing on the top, but I need to change this a little bit. I think now it's better. Now you can hear the name of the music that I'm playing here. And I also want to remind you, if you like this music, it's free. So I'm using copyright free music on the stream, so you can go to the Purple Planet website and download all those music. And if you don't like, please tell me on the chat so I can remove the music from the playlist. Today I'm trying something different because I am not listening the same music as you. I set the music to be playing as the background for the live streaming, but I will not hear it because I think that sometimes when I'm paying attention to the music, I forgot to pay attention to the actual code, and I do things very slowly. So maybe using no music will help me to do this in a better way. And also, please let me know if the volume of the music and the volume of the microphone is good. You can hear it clearly. You tell me and I can change anything, right? And one more thing to say is that I know that some people are watching on YouTube, also on Periscope and Facebook. There are some people there, and welcome. And I just want to say that the chat is not enabled on those platforms. Chat is only enabled on Twitch. So go to twitch.com, twitch.tv, Code Show, and then you can be participating with us on the chat, and that would be great. Why the chat's not enabled on the other platforms? Because it's being hard for me to follow all the chats at the same time, and there are better stuff here on Twitch chat. For example, you can use emojis, and you can have your emojis popping on my screen. So yeah, you can try it. Any emoji you send on my chat, is going to be on my screen. Okay. So for those who doesn't know yet, I'm doing the exorcism.io Rust track, and this is a very awesome website where you can join and do some challenges in many languages. I recommend it a lot. I will try to do those languages here on the top. I'll try to learn more about Go, JavaScript, Rust, TypeScript, Bash, and Python. I already work with some of those languages, but I will try to finish mostly the basic exercises of this website. So I recommend it to you. And the music's too loud. Okay, I will try to lower the volume a little bit. Okay. Let me know if it's better now. And thank you for following Archification. Thank you. Welcome to the Code Show. Today we are doing some Rust programming, and thank you so much. Hey, how is it going? I've been learning Rust for a while now. Saw Rust in the title and click it. Yeah, welcome. I'm also learning Rust. So the title of this stream I do on Tuesdays is I'm learning Rust, and I'm doing exercises in Rust, and I'm sharing. So I think I did 8 exercises, and then I'm going to do the first track of Rust on exercism. Yeah. GCD Marinho, thank you for following. Yeah, welcome to the Code Show. So what I was talking is that I'm going to do all the other languages. I will try to do, but Rust is my focus right now. And I did all these exercises. If you want to see, maybe the recording is not here on Twitch, but the recording is on YouTube. So you can see my YouTube channel also here on the chat. I think we have a YouTube link. So there on YouTube, you can see all the recordings for those exercises that I did previously. And last week we did the sub list. That was very interesting exercise. I had lots of help from people on the chat, and today I'm going to do the Minesweeper. People said that the Minesweeper is a very difficult exercise. I'm very excited, and at the same time I'm a little bit afraid of this exercise because looks like it's going to be very difficult. We are going to deal with some matrix decomposition and that kind of stuff, right? Archification said, let me see the message here. Archification said that I've touched exercise a while ago but forgot how to use it. Isn't there some tool in terminal to submit code? Yeah, exactly. You can submit your code. You have the exercise CLI. We will be using it here. So you see here that I used this tool to download this Minesweeper in Python because I was going to be prepared for this Rust exercise. So I tried to implement this in Python first because it's a language that I'm more comfortable. And this is the tool. You install it on your operation system. It's available for all the other operation systems, and then you download your exercises, and it's going to be put it in where is it? Exercise Rust. So you have a folder, and in this folder you have all your exercises, and you can download and submit, and people are going to review your exercise. It's not that quick to have your exercise reviewed because there are fewer reviewers, mentors there, but people are trying to review it, and you can move forward even if you don't want to wait for review, right? So let me see other questions here. What happened to the crabs popping out in the screen? Yeah, I think if you send some crabs here, it's going to be popping out on the screen. Yeah, I guess. If everything is working on my string elements, I think you're going to see some crabs. Yeah, we have crabs here. Nice. So that thing is work. I love that thing. Yeah. So what more? Jalma, yeah, when the new toys arrive. Yeah, I don't know. I bought a new chair, a new keyboard, and a new mouse for my setup here. So I did it today. People on Twitter helped me a lot to choose, because it's very difficult to choose those things. Mechanical keyboards is a very difficult science, because you need to know all the feedback things, all the colors of the switches, and people helped me a lot to choose my new setup here. So thank you everyone who gave feedback there. That was very nice. And I bought a new keyboard and a new chair. I think next week it's going to be here. Yeah, so I wanted, because my chair is old and I like to be using a different keyboard, because people say that it's very comfortable. Yeah. What more? Francilio came here because of Linux tips. Yeah, Francilio, welcome to the Code Show. And I already said that, but as you just joined it, today is our streaming in English, and we are doing exercises in Rust language. But in Tuesday, quinta-feira, we are going to have Python. Yeah, so we are doing a very nice project using Python, and in next stream Thursday, we are going to use Fast API framework to build a framework based on GitHub API. So you are also welcome to be here on the next Python streaming, and that streaming is in Portuguese. So I have double languages here. Yeah, so I can reach all my friends from outside Brazil and Portugal, and also my friends on those Portuguese speaking countries, right? Elio, welcome Elio. I'm great. Yeah, thank you for joining. You always helping a lot with your suggestions, and today looks like this exercise is going to be a real challenge. So I hope you guys can help me. Yeah. Archification, yeah, it tells you where it is when you download it. Yeah, I think when I run it, it's going to tell me the path. Yeah, but usually it saves on the home folder, exercism Rust, and I have all the exercises here, and that's very nice. Yeah, there's a video on YouTube, I think on the Mozilla channel, where the guy who is the founder of Exercism explained all the infrastructure behind it. So that's awesome, a very interesting thing. And I recommend that if you can join as a mentor in a language that you are already expert, you are going to help a lot, because there is a lot of people doing exercises but few people doing mentoring. I try to do one a week. I don't have more free time, but I go to the Python track and I try to review one exercise a week, and I want to be doing more if I have more time. Yeah. Okay, who else is here? Nathaniel Bumpo. Hey Nathaniel. Nathaniel is our guest here. He is always helping a lot to understanding the exercises, also the platform, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. And I'm always listening to what you have to say, all your suggestions. You have a very good eye on my mistakes here, and thank you so much for that. And Nathaniel is sharing with us here on the chat a very nice link. I will put this here on the screen, and also let me open it here just to take a quick look. But the link is in the chat. And this video is talking about the future of exorcism. Yeah, I think I have not saw it yet. Oh, exorcism has a channel. I have watched a video on Mozilla channel, but I was not aware about this channel. I'm just subscribed. I will be watching it later to understand better. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, let me put this on my watch later list. Nice, and the link's there on the chat. Right, so what else? Michael Leonel, welcome. Marinho, GCD Marinho, it's the Python keyboard. No, I bought what's the name? I got the HyperX Alloy FPS. Yeah, this is the one I got. Yeah, open it here. I got it because it was cheaper than the Python one. I love it, that Python keyboard, but it's very expensive for me. I can't buy that yet. Here in Brazil, to import things are expensive, so I got this. I think this is not the best place to see it. HyperX Alloy FPS. Let me see some images, and I like this because it has a very thin body and it's all metal body and looks pretty nice. Has some lights, and I have chosen the brown switch because it's the silent one. People said on Twitter that it's the silent one. Let me see, but what I really wanted to buy is this one. I love this keyboard here. Let me show you guys. This one is very simple, very old school. Yeah, this one. I wanted to buy this, but looks like this is going to take more than 1 month to be in Brazil. I sent a message to this store here, and they said that it can take so long to be here, so I needed it earlier. So when I can, I will try to buy something like this, more old school. And also with this numpad, I like the numpad thing. Some people doesn't like it, but I like it. So for now, I'm going with the HyperX Alloy. And the other one, the Python one, I don't know if I have the link here. Let me try to find the link for the Python one, because that was interesting, yeah. But also very expensive. People recommended me this one, Keychron, and looks nice, but I think it's small. I like bigger keyboards, and also it doesn't have the numeric pad, and I like to use the numeric pad, so that's why I have not chosen this one. But the Python one, I think it's on my Twitter. Let me find it because it's really interesting. There are two. There's the Python. There's the Python keyboard, the original one that someone shared. I tweeted a lot today, so maybe it's going to be difficult to find it. Yeah, so this is a keyboard that you can customize. So you can come here to this website, and they are not sponsoring my stream, but if they want, I can do more shout outs for them here, and you can come here. Let me remove this dark reader. What happened? Yeah, so you can choose everything for your keyboard here. You can choose the switch, you can choose the color of the keyboard, and you can change the colors for a specific. For example, if you want a pink one, you can click here and apply it, and then you can change the colors. You can also change the modifier keys. It's going to be very ugly, I guess. Oh, it's nice. And you after that you can choose a very different layouts. It has how is the name of that layout? I have a friend that uses Colemac layout. So you can change it, but it's going to be more, almost $200, and to buy it in Brazil it's difficult. Yeah, so I have chosen not to buy it. But the original one is not this. The original one is this one. Yeah, so this is beautiful. this is a very beautiful keyboard, and interesting thing that I figured out, it's not made for Python, it's made for Sweden. Yeah, so it was made for a Sweden company, and this is the colors of the Swedish flag, and that's why it has the same colors of a Python, and then people simulated, but it's very beautiful. Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately I don't have it yet, but I think next week in the next stream I'm going to be with my HyperX keyboard, and then I can share. I will try to put my second camera here and show you guys the keyboard in action, right? What more? How to set, Michael Leonel is asking how to set different directory for exercise codes. I don't know. I think maybe you can, when you install it, maybe you have some option. I don't know. I think I can try to find it. Yeah. But I'm not sure. Let me see. Here's the question. Maybe when we use here this, we can use help. Yeah. And then we have the configure, download, help, open, prepare, submit, upgrade. So maybe it's on the configure. I think there must be a configuration, and I just showed you my token. And that's nice because the pop-up was just here to hide my token from you guys. That was awesome. So configure, let me take the help here. I don't know, looks like it doesn't have option to change the, yeah, here, workspace. Yeah, so you can pass this dash W, and then you can change the directory. Yeah, so I think whenever you are going to use it for the first time, you can pass a different directory, and it's going to set it on the configuration file. Yeah, there must be a configuration file somewhere that is going to be persisting this configuration, but looks like it is. Then here you pass the path and you choose different folder. Yeah. What more do we have here? Good choice. Thiago, do you have this keyboard? Have you used it? Because some people said on the Twitter that they used it with different switches. No one used it with the brown one. People used to like the switch that's more clicky and soundy. Oseas, thank you for following. And I don't know. I have chosen the brown switch because looks like it's silent, and it's not going to affect my stream because my microphone can be getting a lot of sound here. Okay, so we have a link here for another keyboard. Let me open it. Let me see if it's nice. And then we are just going to be jumping into the exercise. Let me just wrap up all the chat messages. Keyboards are so noisy. Yeah, my keyboards are not noisy, Carla. My new keyboard is going to be silent. That's what people said. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I hope it's. And Nathaniel just shared that you can change on .config exercism user.json file. You can change the place there if you don't want to use the command line. Yeah. Cool. And Jean asked me if I like Vim editor. Well, I don't have anything against Vim editor. I'm just not a very I have used this in the past, but I don't know. I don't like the way Vim works having modals. I like to be using the editor in the same way I use For example, I like to use Ctrl S to save, Ctrl Z to undo, Ctrl C and Ctrl P to copy and paste. And I have used Emacs, I have used Vim, and now I think I'm old and I need to use the easiest thing. So I'm using Micro Editor here. It's a very simple editor, and I think I just lost the content of my file. Oh, I don't have this file here on this folder. But yeah, I use Micro because Micro is the simplest editor I found. But today I will not use Micro. Today I'll use VS Code. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Well, so I think we can get to the exercise. And that's it. So we have lots of people here. Thank everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to jump in the chat and ask anything, and I will be looking here from time to time. So let's get back to the exercise. Oh, let me just see this keyboard. It's nice. I have seen some Ergo docks like this one with separated pads, but I don't know if I will be... I need to test it before I buy because it's very expensive. So I need to go to a store where there's some of this, or even try to rent someone and use to understand if I'm going to like it, because I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. Yeah. Or maybe I'm afraid to like it, because if I like this and then I need to use my laptop in some other place, I will be used to this and I will not have this on my laptop, and I don't know. But that looks very nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's go there. So Minesweeper. Nathaniel said last week that this exercise is very difficult, and looks like it's very difficult. Today I tried to solve it using Python. I could do that in Python easily, but I'm not sure if I will be able to do that in Rust the same way I did with Python. So for sure I'll need some help, some ideas. But basically we are going to use some matrix decomposition to get to it. So let me first download it here. I hope my internet's not failing today. Yeah, so we have here Minesweeper, and today I'm going to use VS Code, not Micro, for two reasons. One is that I have been in touch with some of Microsoft developers this week. I have been in a meeting with them and that was very interesting, a community meeting, and they solved some things related to the memory consumption of VS Code. And then I wanted to try it a little bit more to see if it solved my problem of memory, because this exercise looks difficult. And if I'm going to use Micro, I'm going to be using a lot of Rust documentation. So with VS Code, I can use the Rust Analyzer, I think the thing I have there, or our Rust language server, one of those two, and then it's going to help me a little bit. So I'm still using Micro for all the other stuff, but today I'm going to try it. And if it eats all my memory, I will close it and get back to Micro, right? Dark Sysadmin, thank you for following. Welcome to the Code Show, and let's learn some Rust. So I'll open my VS Code here. I hope it's. I'm looking to my memory monitor on the other screen here, and I hope it's not going to eat my memory today. And also there's another change that I did. Here in my OBS, I was using Streamlabs, and Streamlabs demands multiple browsers to be opened, headless browsers on OBS. Then I switched all my widgets, including those emoji stuff, to String Elements. And the String Elements looks very lightweight, yeah, because you have everything in a single screen. And then we are going to have a stream here on this channel. I think it's going to be next week, where I'm gathering some of streamers from Twitch and YouTube, and we are going to have a conversation about streaming, about OBS configuration, and we are going to share with you guys how is the setup of everyone and how you can start doing live streaming. Yeah, because live streaming is awesome because you can do it with any kind of computer. People thinks that you need a very powerful computer. Maybe if you want to have green screen like me, maybe you need a powerful computer, or you are going to use mostly of your computer processing to do that. But you can start doing streaming using web-based solutions with any computer. So it's something that you can start today, and I think next week we are going to talk about it and share our tips and experience about it. So you see here, I opened my VS Code, and here I have a new version. It's updated. I updated right before I started streaming. And looks like one of the changes we have on this new version or the previous one, I don't know exactly which version is, but there is some performance improvement or bug fixing here. And the guy said that maybe it's going to be consuming less memory. So I hope it's true. Yeah, because if it's true, I can get back to my VS Code environment for some of the live streaming. Yeah, so let me just see if my color theme is the right one. Yes, I'm using Gloom, which is a part of Atom appearance for VS Code. So let's go there. So before I jump into the code, let's understand the exercise. So today I have a pen and I have a drawing pad here. So my drawings are going to be a little bit better today, I hope. And then I think it's going to help me to understand better the exercise. So I think everyone is aware about that Minesweeper game. You have this on every Windows system since I think Windows 3.1, and I don't know. I think I use it. I used Windows 3.1, and it had Minesweeper game there. Yeah, I remember that it had the Solitary, and it had the Minesweeper and another game that I don't remember exactly. And I play it a lot, and today was the first time I programmed this thing on Python, and let's see if I can explain and then start doing this in Rust. So we have a matrix, and for example, the matrix is a two-dimension matrix, and the size of the matrix is randomly passed to the function we are going to implement. But for example, I can receive a 5 per 4 board like this one here, right? And every asterisk here is a bomb. So the same way we have on the game, we have here. So if I click this position, it's going to explode and I'm going to lose the game. And then if you remember from the game, when you are on the field screen, you can ask the game to show you some tips, and the tips came in forms of numbers. So you are going to see how many mines, how many bombs you have around that position. So for example, in this case here, we have a bomb here. So for the position 0 here, we say that we have 1 bomb near, and then the user, the player, need to try if the bomb is on the right or down, because it's the only 2 possible places where the bomb can be. Douglas Batista, thank you. Welcome to the Code Show, and let's do some Rust exercises. Let me open another thing here, which is called my paint. I think it's going to work. And just to have some drawings, yeah, I think I can do it. Better than with the mouse, but I still have to practice a little bit more. So I have my field here, and for example, my field is going to have some columns. So 1, 2, 3. So I have 5 columns, and I'm very good on drawing, you can see. And also we have some rows, and that's it. So in that example for here, we have these dots represent white spaces on the program and places where we don't have bombs, so the empty spaces. But we have, for example, a mine here. We have also a mine here, and another one here, and another one here. And all the other places are empty. So if you are playing this game, we are going to see all empty and buttons to click. And then we have a hint button somewhere, and the hint is going to say, for example, the number 1. And looking to the number 1, we know that around this position, we have a mine that can explode, right? And it can be this place, or it can be any place near it. So there is the possibility to be here on this position, or this position, right? And I think for this one, this is the only I don't know if the diagonal is I don't know if here is a valid position. Do you guys know in this example? For example, if the bomb was here instead of here, so I think it is, yeah. So we have also this so it's even difficult to to do. Okay, but for example, in the middle, yeah, in the middle we are going to have this. So we have 3 possibilities for this one. So if the user is going to click here, he is going to see a hint with the number 3, and by looking to the number 3, the game player is going to know that there are 3 possibilities of bombs. One is on the left, one is on the right, and one is below. So this is all the 3 possibilities to be to have this, and also here and here. So the user is going to choose one of the others, but we need also to look to the other hints, because in this place, for example, we are going to have 1. Here we are going to have 2. Actually, we are going to have 3, right? We are going to have 3, yeah, because we have 1, 2, and 3. And in this case, we are going also to have 3, because we have this, this, and this. So that's the idea. So what's the challenge? The challenge is that we need to transpose this matrix here in a new one. And the new one is where we are going to actually put the numbers. Rustness, thank you for following. You are at home here. So we are trying to learn Rust. If you already know Rust, feel free to comment, give suggestions. If you are learning, so welcome to learn Rust with me and others on the chat. I'm not very good at drawing and not very good at Rust yet, but we are trying to do our best here. Right? So what we are going to do actually is this is going to be passed to us only with the places where we have the bombs. So we are going to have like this. Wow. And then we need to fill another matrix, and in this new matrix we are going to put the numbers there. 1, and here we are going to put 3, 1, 3, and 3, and that's it. For this example here, we also have 2 here, and we have 2 here, right? And here we have 1, yeah, this 1, 1, and 1. So the idea is our input has the bombs and our output must have the numbers with the hints that we are presenting to the user, to the player, showing where is the possibility of the bombs to be. Okay. So sorry for my very bad drawing, and let's go back to the code, right? There is a 1 into... yeah. So I think we are going to get started with this example from here, or we can take the first test case there. I don't know, maybe that's a good idea. And then, yeah, I think that's a good idea. We can start with the first test case, because I really don't know where to start, but I'll try. And let's get back to the code. The first thing is opening the test cases, and also the code. Let me, I don't remember all the VS Code keybinds because I'm using Micro for a long time, but I'll try. And here's the test cases. I think now the font size is good, right? Let me know if you need font size bigger than this, but I think it's okay to understand it. And Jaume is saying that he plays a lot of this game because he doesn't have internet. Okay. And this is offline, yeah. I played this a lot when I was in Windows, and there's a long time that I don't use Windows. But I remember playing it. I remember that at the first time I had a very hard time to understand how it works. And okay, so let's understand the test cases and then we pass to the function. So in the test case, we are importing our function, which I see here, it's called Annotate. And then we have some helper functions as usual in the exercises. We have the first function here, which is called remove annotation. It receives a slice of string references, and it returns a vector of strings. What it does, it iterates the board. So by the board, we are talking about the matrix. Yeah, so this we have here 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. In each row we have 5 columns. So in this example, this represents the board. We are going to iterate the board, and when we iterate the board, we are going to have each of the rows. Yeah, so first, second, and so on. And for each row, we need to iterate every character in this row and try to do the decomposition. I think it's decomposition. Yeah, the composition of the matrix, because we have one matrix and we have to decompose it into another one. I don't think it's called transpose. I don't remember. I know the formal name for this operation. It's not interpolation. I think it's decomposition. Yeah. So, and then we are removing annotations in row. Why we are removing annotations, I don't know, but let's understand from the test case. So removing annotation is going to take every bomb, which is an asterisk, and for every bomb it's going to return the same thing when it finds a match. Okay, it's doing the inverse. So if I receive the thing with lots of numbers, it's going to strip out the numbers and keep only the bombs, only the asterisks. Yeah, cool. And for everything else, it's going to keep it blank character. Cool. This is just a helper function to run the test cases, because there are some things here. They are cleaning the thing. iterating the cleaned collection and collecting as a vector of the same type. We are collecting. Then it gets the expected, and the expected is the actual test case, right? So we have the expected as the test case, and we have the bombs as our cleaned, and then we are going to check if the expected is equal the cleaned thing with the annotation. So this is the thing we are going to implement, this line here. We are going to implement this annotate function. And okay, so first test case here says that if we receive empty, run test for empty, right? So we have an empty slice, and who follows? VD Gonk. Thank you for following. Welcome to the Code Show, and let's learn some Rust. And if you know Rust, please feel free to give your suggestion and comments. Okay, so no rows. So I got that the first test we need to do is, if we receive an empty thing, empty data, we need to ensure that the expected is equal the cleaned annotated one, which is empty. So I will jump right to this function and remove this unimplemented here. There's one thing that I forgot to take a look here. What are we going to use on this exercise? Sometimes they put here some concepts that we are going to be exercising. Looks like this one we don't have. I remember the last one, Nathaniel helped saying that we should look to the ORD trait and also look to iterator trait, and that was on the readme of the exercise. This one I think doesn't have anything, right? Just everything I just said, that the mine is represented by a matrix, empty is represented by a dot here, but on the exercise it's a blank space. Asterisk is where the bomb is on the game, and I think that's it. There's nothing special here that we need to be carrying a lot, right? In terms of Rust structures or concepts. Because, for example, let's go to the other exercise, the sublist one we did last week. You see here that if we go to the instructions, somewhere here they stated that we here make sure to read models chapter. So it was interesting to look to the models, and I remember there were some place where the traits were mentioned, or maybe it was tags. Let me see if there's tags here. Oh, that was tags. Okay, so here we have tags, and he said that we have generic overtype, which we used on the sublist. Enums, I don't remember about using enums on this exercise. We use it. We use it for the comparison. So, and the generic overtypes we use it here. Anything that implemented partial equal could be passed to this function. So that's nice. On the space age, we have used traits. Fry42, thank you for following and welcome to the Code Show. Nice. So in this exercise today, Minesweeper, we are going to use board state. I think board state is not a Rust concept. It's just, I think maybe we are going to use more iterators than something else. I'm trusting to see it because every time we do exercise, these bars here increases. So you see that, for example, for traits, there's a lot of stuff to be doing, and looks like today we are not going to implement anything with traits. Yeah, maybe this exercise is not going to be very difficult, but maybe it's tricky. I I don't know if Nathaniel is still there, but Nathaniel said that this is the worst exercise maybe to be reviewing, yeah, because it's difficult. And I don't know exactly where to start looking. For example, if I need to implement some special type, or, well, I'll just be sticking to the test cases, I guess. So I'll look to the test cases and do what the test case is expecting one by one, and babe steps, slow steps, the same way we did before. Maybe that's the better approach, right? The last is worst. This is just one of the really hard ones because there is no right answer. Okay, right. Yeah, I think it's difficult because when we have this data structure, complex data structure, it's going to be difficult to be iterating over it. But yeah, if there is no right answer, maybe I can do my common mistakes here. And then after we are going to see which is the best thing. So for the first test to pass, let me first make it fail. Cargo test, it's failing because my function annotates not returning anything, and I need to return what this is expecting. I need to return the cleaned strings. And in this case, I think I'm going to start like testing if my mine field is empty, right? So if my mine field is empty, which is in this example here, I'm passing an empty collection, I'm going to return a new vector because it's returning vector of string. So I need to stick with the signature of the function. So if mine field is empty, I will do this. I will return. Actually, I don't have to put the return keyword here, but as I'm going to have more code later here, I will use explicitly return, which is not very usual to do, but sometimes it's good to do. And I think this is one of the cases where we can use return in Rust. If I want to implement all my code inside an else block, maybe I don't need return. I can just put the thing here. But I don't know, I think I can just do a bare check on the top. And then Arthur, thank you for following and welcome to the Code Show. I'll do a very quick check here. If the thing is empty, I'm going to return. What I'm going to return, it is expecting to be a vector of strings, but the thing is empty. I don't have strings to be building this new vector, so I need to return. I will not be returning the same thing. I'll need to return a vec, and this vec should be empty. So to have an empty vec, I will do return vec new. This is the builder pattern, so I create a new vec, and then something is I think I have Clippy here on VS Code, and it's yelling that if he may be missing else clause, expected struct, found. Okay, so I think I don't need else clause if I just put a vec new here, right? Let me see. Yeah, so that was the problem. The problem is if I don't have another return, it's going to ask me to cover all the possibilities that my code is having to not break at the runtime. And I think if I don't put any kind of return here, this code is not going to compile. Let me test. Yeah, I have error because it's expecting a vector of string. I'm returning a vector of string only if the mine field is empty, but if it's not empty, I'm not returning anything, and then it's a compile error. So that's very powerful thing in Rust because it doesn't allow me to do the wrong thing here. and I always have to have the same return type very concisely. So to make it pass my test case, I need to be returning an empty vector here just to make it pass, not the right thing yet. But then we are covering all the possibilities, right? So if it's empty vec new, if it's not empty vec new, just to make the first test to pass. So cargo test, and it's passing. Great. I think this first 3 lines here we are going to keep in our solution because we have to check if the thing is empty. If it's empty, we are not going to calculate anything. We are just returning. But from now on, we need to implement the different cases. So next case is when we have only one element in our input and we have no columns. And when we have only one element here, what is it expecting? We can see here in the run test, remove annotations is going to receive this single empty space thing, and it's going to iterate over it, and it's going to take this white space on this map, right? And then it's going to transform this white space here that's receiving on this map. It's not asterisk, so it's going to transform to an empty char, right? So what I need to do is to make this other test to pass is to return an empty char here. So I guess I just need to do like this, right? Can I do this, or I need to do char from and pass it? Let me see. Maybe cargo test, no. Vec string and found. Yeah, I need to return a vector made of this, right? So not the best thing I did. So new vector, and this new vector that I'm going to be a vector from, I guess. And just to be sure, I just want this thing to pass, right? Not trying to solve the whole thing in a single shot. Just want to make the second test to be passing in a very slow babe step. So I need to return a new vector, right? So the thing that I need to return is exactly like the vector created by this macro, and inside it I have this. So why I'm trying to do differently? I can do just like this, right? So mismatched types, expected string and found car. So I need string, so I have to do into. Can I do that? No. To owned. Create owned data from bar data. Okay, because it's not a reference, it should be a reference for the char. Okay, that's a very simple thing we need to do. We need to create a vector, and we need to put a single string there, which is a character. So maybe I can do string from and put this here. Is it going to work? UTF encoded global string type is a common, blah blah blah. Okay, but what's the error? Let me see on the terminal. Okay, I don't have the from implemented from string to char. Can I just use a single space like this? I think with double quotes. No columns has failed, and let's see why where is the output of it. Failures. So no columns panicked, left is empty while right has a space. I was expecting to have a space because of this function here at the top. So this function is, oh, this function is transforming for me. So I just need to return it like this. And that's it. It's passing, right? Looks like it's working. And I just want to ensure that people are following the idea here that we are doing in very slow babe steps until we get to the proper solution that's going to solve all the cases. But for this case specifically, we have solved it when the minefield is empty. We don't have any minefield, any position, and any bomb. And then we have solved the case where we have no columns, just an empty space. And this empty space has no bombs, so we just return it. And then the next test case is where we have a matrix with 3 positions, with 3 rows. In each row we have 3 columns, so it's going 3 by 3. And in this one, 3 by 3 one, we have no mines. We don't have any bombs to be returned. So how can we solve it without having to do the whole implementation in a single shot? I can put another if. So I check it that if the minefield is empty, I do the first thing. Now I can check if minefield.len is equal 1. And if it's equal 1, I can return this thing, right? I'm going to use the return keyword. I know it's wrong, but just to make it work. And then the next case we have is we are receiving matrix with 3 by 3. And what we are going to return is, I think now we are going to return empty spaces. Just 3 empty spaces by each of the position. So our return is going to be very similar, a vector. And this vector is going to have, I could use a for here to generate it maybe. Thank you, Tonzera. Thank you for following and welcome. I will be creating strings here, and 1, 2, 3, I guess that's the solution. I will just return the same stuff, and maybe I'm doing some bad things because I'm already receiving it. I could iterate it. Oh, I forgot to put this. I could just iterate it, the input to do like this, but let's see if this test is going to pass. Yes, that's working. Okay. And next one, the board with only mines. Okay, so let's keep doing the wrong solution, and we are almost going to be doing the right thing. All right. So this is going to be the same thing like this, but instead of empty strings, we are going to return 3 asterisk for every position. So I would do something more. I'll just take this minefield and return it mapping. Let me see. I can replace this line and do, for example, return minefield. And now I'm going to maybe iterate over the minefield. Yeah. So I will. So minefield is a slice of string references. Then I can iterate over it. So when I do this, I got an iterator object. Over this iterator object, I can apply things like I can apply a map, for example, or I can apply a filter or something else. and I can apply a map, because the only thing I need right now is to collect the same thing I received as a vector of string. I receive it as a slice of string, and I need to transform it in a vector of string. I don't know if I have something that allows me to just do, like, for example, minefield as, and just transform it magically. But I know that I can do like this. I can do minefield, iter, and maybe just do a collect here. Do I need to do iter before collect, or can I call just collect without having the iter? Let me see. So I'll try to collect it, and when I'm going to collect it, I'm going to, I think after this map check, if you can delete the first two ifs. Yeah, I think I still need the first two, right? I guess. Because I'm checking if the thing is empty here. If I do the map, I can check if it's empty inside the map closure. I think that's the idea, right? And what Djalma is saying, that on Tuesday, can I ask for a help with a problem? Yeah, sure. It's a Python problem. We are going to be talking about Python. Maybe we can take some minutes to be looking at it. Yeah, sure. So I'll try to do this without using the iter, and if it doesn't work, we do in the proper way. So to collect it as a string, I need to use the column here, and then I need to pass the string type here, and try removing the first two ifs after you get this case working. Okay, I'll try that. I think Nathaniel and Elio is saying that I can remove the first thing, the first two ifs after this. Okay, so my first try is I'm going to collect the minefield directly as strings, but no, because what I need is a vector of strings, right? If I collect as a string, I'm doing the wrong thing. I need to do an iter here, I guess, and in this iter I need to apply a map, and after I apply the map I can collect it. So let me put this in a better format. Now it's getting more like the way I personally like to be reading Rust code in a more functional style. So I get the minefield, I create an iterator over it, I have a map where I'm going to apply something here, and I can collect. Oh, Pokemon, thank you so much for the raid, and welcome 42 people that just joined, and thank you so much. Raids are very welcome here on Code Show, and I want to welcome everyone that are joining, and say that today is Tuesday. It's my Rust language stream. I'm doing this in English, so Pokemon is a very awesome streamer that does PHP streamings here on Twitch. So if you doesn't know Pokemon channel, go there and follow him. And people joining today, it's in English, right? But on Thursday it's in Portuguese. So today is Rust. The whole stream is going to be in English. I'm doing an exercise to solve the Minesweeper game. And then on Tuesday we are doing in Portuguese Python stuff. So everyone is welcome here. Thanks everyone who is following, and feel free to ask questions in English, in Portuguese, anything. I will do my best to try to answer. And if you already know Rust, feel free to give me some suggestions. And if you don't know, please stay there. We are learning together, and we have very smart people here on the chat helping us. So that's it. Welcome. And I was just saying that we have a minefield, which is a matrix of the bombs, the mines, and then it's going to be transformed to an iterator. For this iterator, we can apply a map and we can collect. So our goal is to return a vector of strings. So in this map, I'm going to apply a closure function here. And for this closure, I'm going to take each row, right? So I have these rows here filled with asterisks. So I'm going to have 3 rows. And for each of the row, I'm going to apply the same thing I have here. So I'll just copy it. And I'm going to return a string from the content of the row. I know maybe I can do this easily, just doing some kind of collect directly. I can try this later, but looks like this is going to work. And Kongi Oficial is asking if I speak Portuguese. I'll use my new command here, which is languages. And you know that Tuesday I speak English, and Thursday, quinta-feira, I'll be speaking in Portuguese, okay? But you can chat in Portuguese. I'll read your comments in Portuguese, no problem. But if you want to see some Python coding in Portuguese, we are doing that on Tuesday, right? Today is Rust, and I'm learning Rust in English, and there's awesome content about Rust in English. Rust community is a very nice community. I'm learning a lot of things, and once I learn more, I will be creating more content in Portuguese. So I have 3 videos on my YouTube channel. If you want to go there, YouTube Code Show, there is a Rust playlist there. Let me see if my internet's going to help me to navigate here. So I have here a playlist, and there is a Rust playlist here, and I have a video where I present the Rust programming language, all the concepts in Portuguese, right? I have another video where I talk about where can you use Rust. So in this video I show examples of game development, WebAssembly, CLI applications, embedded applications, and that kind of things, also in Portuguese. We did live coding, live online dojo, implementing the Jock and Poe game, also in Portuguese. We did coding dojo in Portuguese twice, yeah. And then we have extensions for VS Code in Rust. We did the @bas cipher exercise in Portuguese, and then after this, I started doing everything in English, yeah, on this Tuesday streaming. But soon, once I learn more about Rust, I'll be doing more content in Portuguese, right? I'll be creating more videos, and I'll be creating more streamings in Portuguese. I know that the community, the Rust community in Brazil is growing, and I want to help it. So that's my goal. My goal is to learn, and then after that, I'm going to give it back to the Brazilian community. Yeah. Also, community from Portugal, Angola, Macau. There's all the countries that speaks Portuguese, right? And Samuel is asking if I'm using i3. Yes, I'm using i3, and I like it very much. It's very simple. I'm using just the bare i3 without anything, without gaps, without all the cool stuff. I just installed the raw i3, and that's what I use. Yeah, with lots of default keybinds. Yeah, and that works really nice. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back there to the exercise. And okay, thank you for the subscribe on YouTube. Thank you so much, and let's go. And Riggy saying that have a YouTube channel with a couple of videos in Rust in Portuguese. Please share your YouTube link here on the chat. Feel free to put that If you have content about Rust in Portuguese, feel free to share. And welcome, Vini Emmanuel. Welcome to the Code Show. So, I think that's it. We got our matrix, iterated. We then transform it using a map. We get strings and then we collect. And I'm not sure yet if I need to specify the type here, but maybe I don't need, because Rust is going to infer it by the return of the function, right? So I will save it. I try to run the tests and let's see the messages from the compiler. I have errors and I love errors because I learn with the errors. So the trait convert from, yeah, I have seen this error before. Nathaniel have teached me about this thing before, and I'm still getting the same error. So sorry, I will learn. But looks like the trait to convert from reference of a string is not implemented, because here I'm getting row and I'm passing row without the referencing it. That's the thing. Because here I'm receiving a reference, right? A slice. And inside the slice, each of the elements are also references. So I have two levels of reference. That's why on the error message, I have 2 ampersands. And looks like maybe here I need to use this, and maybe it's going to solve the problem, right? And that's it. So, this is some tricky thing that sometimes it's difficult for me to understand, but I'm starting to get it. So sometimes there are some contexts where Rust do the referencing automatically for us, especially when we call some dot notation methods. So if I was going to call something from row here, like dot something, maybe Rust was going to do the referencing to access this for me. But in this case, in this closure inside this map, I needed to pass the reference to get after the iter. So this is very related to the borrow checker, yeah. And this is where everyone is going to be spending more time on when learning Rust, is to put the proper borrowing notation there. So I think we have something here. I'm putting all the message that Nathaniel sends directly to the screen because I trust what he says, and says that it's because iter borrows, so it adds e, right? And if you can use into iter, then it does not, but you consume the value. Okay, so when I call iter is taking a borrow of each of the element here, right? And then it's going to put another e on that, because I already receive it as a slice of references, and I'm going to have this element on there, which is a reference, and iter automatically borrows the value. Then I have twice borrows, right? Okay. And if I use into iter, I'm going to consume the value. I'm going to move the ownership of the value to the iterator, and then I can't use this again. Yeah, I don't know if this is the case, but I'm going to keep like this because it's passed. And your other suggestion was to remove those ifs, right? I can't use into iter because clip will give me a warning about it. Okay, I'm curious. So if I try to do into iter here, for example, I'm going to have a message from clip. I think I need to click on this lamp here. Change to iter. That's the only message I have. Alves Ricardo, welcome to the Code Show. Thank you for joining. Change to iter. That's the only message. Not helping a lot, but okay. So looks like I don't need into either. I can use just either directly. Okay. And then other suggestion was to remove these two things on the top, right? Why? If the thing is empty, it's going to collect as a vec and it's empty. The map is not going to be applied and it's going to automatically create the vec new. Okay, got it. Remove it. If the length equals 1, it's going to create in the same way, and then I remove it. Awesome. I think that's it. But anyway, I think those two ifs before were good in the matters of learning. So now we know very explicitly what the thing is doing, right? So thank you, Elio and Nathaniel, to that suggestion. And I think the code is going to be evolving from here, right? And I have a link here. Let me open it, which explains why we can't use into either on references, right? I'll remove the dark reader here. Yeah, better. And okay, into either on have. What it does: checks in either, calls reference, which should be replaced by either or either mud. Why is this bad? Readability. Okay, calling into either on a reference will not move out its content into the resulting iterator, which is confusing. It's better to just call either or either mutt. Either mutt is something I would call only if I need to change that value, but I will not change that value. I just get a read-only iterator, right? And there is an example here. Let something which is using the vec macro and transforming into either. And the object that's going to be returned by into either is going to be an iterator. But every element here is going to be moved into the iterator, right? And then vec, which was the previous owner of that data. Let me increase the font here. So when we have this object created, this object is the owner of the value 3, 4, and 5. And if I don't use the into either, the owner of this object is going to be the variable here on the let. But when I call into either, I'm going to create a new iterator, and this value is going to be moved to this iterator, and then I lose the ownership. Yeah, so the ownership is going to be on that internal, on that other object, and I will be consuming it, right? It does not. Nathaniel is saying that it doesn't move. So because the vec makes it a reference, you can't move out of a reference. Okay, so I was wrong. In this case, wouldn't just borrow because you were calling. Okay, I'm calling here. I had not paid attention on the same percent here. So I'm calling with reference here, right? So I don't get why I can't use into either. If it's a reference, it's not going to be moved there. It's just a matter of readability because it doesn't make any difference. That's the thing, right? Maybe. Yeah, the answer is here. Calling into either on a reference will not move out its content, which is confusing. Yeah, it's very confusing. It's better to just call either directly. You don't own the memory, so you can't move it out. Yeah. Okay. Well, so this is one of the reasons that I'm using VS Code today, and looks like it's working because I have only 20% of my memory being used, and I have only 22% of my CPU being used. So I have OBS, I have VS Code, I have the browser, and I have music playing, and I can use it. So looks like people on Microsoft really fixed the problem we are having on memory consumption on VS Code. Thanks a lot for that. And that's why I use VS Code right now for this example, because if I was on the micro editor, I was going to be opening Rust documentation a lot. And here I can have this helpers, clip, putting some notations, and it helps. Yeah, I would like to have this in the micro editor. I'll try to implement that. I have some proof of concept here of the integration with clip and cargo, but it's not working fully right now. Yeah. Okay, so tests are passing. We need to move on to the next one. Thank you, Nathaniel, for this explanation about it. It's still a little bit confusing, but I understood that it's just a matter of readability because it doesn't make any real change, right? And Untitled is more reasonable to be used when we can move the object, the data. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so next test. The next test is here, and now things are going to get a little bit more complicated, right? So our input is a mine surrounded by spaces. Okay, so we have only a single mine in the middle of our matrix. So if it's a 3x3, so all the other things, all the other elements are going to be 1, because those are the possibility of exploding that mine. I can solve this problem in a very quick and dirty way if I check if we have only a single mine, and if I check that we have only ones in the collection. But now maybe I'm going to do a more generic solution here and try to solve the next test also, because here we have one space surrounded by mines, and here we have one mine surrounded by spaces. So maybe we can solve these two tests in a single shot, right? So a little bit less. Let me know if the size is okay. I can increase it again if you guys think it's needed, but this way we can see the inputs, and then we can think about it on the implementation. Let me see what's happening on the chat. We have good explanation here. When you use Untitled, you should expect the memory to move it out, consume it. Okay. And so when you do Untitled on a reference, the memory is still valid. That can be confusing. Yeah, that's what I got. I got that if I use Untitled, I expect that I can move the object. I can move the data. But in this case, the data is not going to be moved because it's already borrowed. It's already a reference. And then it's going to be confusing when we are reading the code. It's not expressing what we expect. So this is why Clip suggested. Yeah, just because of the readability. Yeah, so experienced programmers will know that Untitled over the reference is going to behave like this, but us, which are still learning, can get confused about it. Yeah, so I got it, and that's nice. That's nice that we have Clippy. Rust is a new language, and we already have lots of tools like Cargo Play, Cargo Clippy, and lots of other cargo things that helps us. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I still miss one thing in Rust. I would like to be consulting the documentation using my console. So I can have, for example, cargo doc, and it's going to do documentation in HTML. It's going to create a website for me. And I was experimenting, as you can see here on my shell, I was experimenting on trying to convert this to HTML and then using the links browser on the terminal to read the documentation, but it's very bad experience. Yeah, actually I think it hasn't worked, and there is no way. For example, in Go we have a tool called GoDoc. I don't know if I have GoDoc installed here. Yeah, but I need to have some sources. But if I am on a Go project, I can call GoDoc, and it's going to build the documentation and also the internal Go documentation. And I can do some kind of search if I'm not wrong. For example, I can search for a type like integer, and it's going to show me on the terminal, on the console, all the documentation. I don't have to open the browser. And for Rust, I need to open the browser to read the documentation. I saw a project called Oxydoc. Or maybe it's different. No, it's Oxydoc, yeah. So Oxydoc looks like it's interesting. A command line interface to Rust documentation. So the idea is that I can go and just run Oxydoc and pass some queries, and it's going to give me the documentation to be read on the console. But I tried it, it's not working, and the latest commit is 2 years ago. So I already forked it. I have a fork here. I would like to start working on it to make it work for me, but had no free time yet. So if anyone knows another way I can be in the terminal and consult the Rust documentation without the need of the browser, that will be nice. Yeah, or I will be doing like the way I was doing, transforming to HTML, parsing and using the links browser, which is bad. Yeah, so that's the thing. Okay, so it's going to fail right now, obviously, because I'm running those 2 tests and it's expecting that we have received empty spaces, and then it received without the hints, right? I cleaned the hints, but we expected the hints to be there. So we need to be now we need to take care about the characters and the numbers. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know where to start. Let me see. Inside the function, I'm already doing either I'm applying the map and I'm getting only the row from the map, transforming to a string and collecting as a string. So what can I do right now is inside this map for each of the positions here. So let's take a look. I will keep the second test ignored and focus on the first one, right? So we need to return this. So that's the return. We need to return empty spaces and then mine in the middle and all the empty spaces again. Well, so map spaces to 1. Yeah, if I map spaces to 1, I think I'm going to solve the problem, right? Without taking care of anything else. But I need 2 maps, right? Because here I'm mapping on the row. So for each run of this map, what I'm receiving is the holy row thing here, right? So it's 1 level of iteration. Now I should start doing the matrix decomposition and do 2 iterations. I should iterate on rows, and for rows then I need to iterate in columns. So I need to take 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and then for each of them I need the whole column. Yeah, so for example, if I'm doing this second one, I need all the objects from here, but also I need all the objects from the x and y axis of this matrix. So that's interesting. How can I do that? I think we need to change this map. Let me remove this bad code I put here. I'll need to change this map. Okay, like this. And this map is going to receive row, but I also need to receive the row and the column. But I don't know if I have in the Rust standard library or in the iter tools something that can do that. For example, in Python we can use some iter tools stuff to do this in one shot and have all the elements from the row and from the column. But I really don't know if we have it in Rust, but I can do that by my own if I can get the numbers. So here I have the first row, second row, third row. So I need these references for the rows, and also I need to count how many columns we have. So in this case we have 3 columns, but if I had more. But well, okay, let's focus on this simple example, 3 by 3. So here, I think in this map, it's not going to be like this. In this map, I need the index of each row, and also I need the row itself. And Wood, thank you for following, Wood. Can you just store the Minefield as an array with length of width, and then do a single char per index? Well, the Minefield here is already a slice. It's, I don't know if I got your idea, but your idea is it's already stored and I can iterate over it. And you are saying that I can calculate, okay, I could calculate the len of each row and also calculate the len of all the columns and get the max. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. I can start counting it and I can first get all this data, the size of the whole field, and then after having it, I know the boundaries, right? And I can even make a struct. Do I need a struct for it? Maybe, but let's try the first, let's try the simplest one. If I don't have a struct, maybe I'll need to repeat more code, right? If I have a struct, I can be setting the state. Oh, and that's interesting because in the exercise, we have the board state tag, and the board state maybe is a hint for us to create a struct to store it, yeah. And then I can do things like get element and all those things that Woody is telling us. I like that idea, yeah. But I don't know if it's going to get more complicated at the first, because I was thinking about trying to solve inside this map and do the map twice. I know doing the map twice here, iterating twice, maybe it's not the best performance regarding to the performance, but let's try to move like this, and then I will try to, if I have time, I'll try to revisit the idea of having a struct represent the minefield, and then I can pass this to build a new, so I do minefield from this slice of strings, and then I can calculate everything at the build time, or also I can have those methods. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that idea, but I'll try to do like something. I was thinking about that I need the indexes of each row. I need to know this is 0, 1, and 2, because after, when I'm going to iterate over the second level, I'll need this information, right? So I need the row index, and then I need the char index, because if I'm going to create a matrix like this, I want to know that I have 0, 1, 2, and here I start 0, 1, and 2. I need to build this data. Could be in a struct, but yeah. And then I can get this for X and Y, right? So maybe that's going to be the names of my variables. But for doing that, I need to enumerate it. Do we have enumerate in Rust? I guess in the doc.rust. I think on the iterator we have a method called enumerate. Just like in Python, and I'm reminding me that I did this in Python, and I used the enumerate on Python for loop. So I'll try to do the same. And enumerate is on standard iterator, right? Iter, enumerate. So enumerate is going to give me a tuple? No, it's going to give me enumerate object. I was expecting to have a tuple, but okay, it's a pair. Index and value. The same thing we have in Python, we have here for enumerate. So I can get here after my iter and do enumerate, right? So inside this map now, my closure is not going to... Before, we were receiving a row, right? Now I'm going to receive two things here. And I guess I can destructure like a tuple. And this tuple is going to have... this is the row index and the proper row data, right? Instead of a single row. And then here inside the map, I can use those two things, but I will need a block of code to do that inside the block easily. Write this. Okay, so I have now row index and row, and I think I can call row index like X, no, row index like X or Y. Let me think about it. I think for now I'll just call it row index. Then we can rename after. Maybe I could call it like the axis, like X and Y. And then I will get here I'll get X and the proper value of X. And then after, inside the next iteration, I can get the Y. But to be clear, I'll call it row index, and the next one is going to be the char index, right? So row and char index, and both are going to have enumerates. Okay, nice. What I do now, I need to get the row index, and inside this map I need to do what? I think I lost my track of thinking. If I have the row index like 1, 2, and 3 here, I will be able to get the row, which is the each of characters here, and I can iterate again over these characters. That's the idea. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back on the flow. So and iterating over the characters there is my second my second iteration. And then once I have it, I'll have the index for each of the element. And then I need to do a search again over the full minefield. So it's not going to be very performatic. Yeah, it's, I think maybe using the struct is going to be better, but let's go there. Let's try. So inside this map, I'll get the row, and I will iterate over the row. So now here I have row, and oh, I can't iterate over the row. I need to iterate over the chars of the row, or over the bytes. Oh, I think over the chars of the rows. And I need another numerate, right? Because now I need 0, 1, and 2 from the proper row. And what more? Enumerate. Then I will apply a map. So that's getting very repetitive, but I don't know other way of doing this without using crates or numeric stuff, because I need to be transposing the matrix, like I'm going from the first one and I'm moving to the others, and I need 2 iterations to do that, right? I don't have a way to do that in a single way. I don't know. Maybe there is, but not sure. But okay. Enumerated each of the rows, and I have a map. What I'm going to do with this map? I will create another function that takes the same thing as before, and the same thing is going to be the char index for each row, and the next thing is the proper char. I'll call it C, right? And Wood is saying that for loops might be a bit cleaner than iter mapping. Yeah, maybe I can do for minefield.iter.enumerate, and then inside that for loop I can put all this stuff. Yeah, I'll try that once we get this, at least those 2 test cases working. Then we can jump into the refactoring and maybe do that, or do a better, cleaner and simple for. Or we can go to the idea of having a struct, but Nathaniel is saying that maybe struct is not getting better at performance, but we can talk about that in a minute, because now I think I'm just repeating myself. Look, I did the same thing I did here, I did inside. So if I had some recursive thing, maybe it would work in the same way. The only difference is that now I changed the axis. I was doing X, now I'm doing Y, right? Yeah. So now it's the time to start doing things here. I think what I can do is, and I know Nathaniel is going to say that I'm wrong, because I always try to do that, right? And thank you for following Otelicious, and welcome to the Code Show, right? Here inside this map, Nathaniel, I will try the same thing I tried in all my exercises, and you said that I was wrong, but maybe now I'm not so wrong. I'll try to do a match, because I love matches. If I can do a pattern matching, I would write everything as a pattern match. So I'll match over the C character, and then now I have the C character here, which in this case is going to be 1, 1, 1. No problem. but one of them is going to be our mine, our asterisk. So that's why I'm doing the match here, right? I need to take this asterisk to decide where is the bomb placed. So for doing that, I will use a match here. I know I could do that like using the proper char numbers or other kind of stuff, but well, my first idea is I will try to compare the C. So if the C is our bomb, which is an asterisk like this, right? I will just return the same thing. That's simple. If I need, I will put this in a constant later, but if it's asterisk, it returns the asterisk, right? If it's not the asterisk, remember that I'm receiving the white spaces, yeah? And I'm annotating. So I'll get white space in my next possibility here. My next variant of character is white space. When I have a bomb, is a bomb. When I have a white space, it's where I need to replace with a number. So for example here, I'm going to have this empty space. Now I need to take a look at the minefield, at the position I am, and decide around me how many bombs I have. So now I think the hint that Nathaniel gave here, let me get back in my history and put here on the screen. The hint is a function that counts number of mines given an x and y would be useful. So I think here it's the way, right? The place. So in any other case where it's not a bomb, it's not a mine, I will create that function that counts the number of mines. So I'll call it count mines, right? And it receives x and y, x and y. So now I need to understand what's my x, what's my y. Yeah, so the function receives x and y. My x is my char index, right? So my x is here. I know that I'm, for example, in the first 0, 1 or 2 position. So it's going to receive the char index is my x, and the y index is the row index 0, 1 and 2. So now here I'm receiving the row index. And I need to implement this function, right? And I will need the minefield too. I need the minefield too. Yeah, let me try to get... Oh yeah, right. I'll need the minefield. You are right. Because I'm going now to search inside this minefield. I would search inside this minefield to get the position. Now I think it's clear. I got the x with it's the char, the row, and then I'm going to search inside the minefield to get how many things I have around it. Nah, that's nice. I still need to collect stuff here. So Rabugento is asking me if I can speak Portuguese, and I will use my command again. I need to put all the command list here, but here I speak English every Tuesday and I speak Portuguese every Thursday. Yeah, which is very similar word. I have problems with Tuesday and Thursday, but quinta-feira is Portuguese day and Tuesday is English day. Rabugento, thank you for joining and thank you for your comments about JS framework. No, Rabugento, Rust is not a JS framework, right? It's a programming language and you are welcome to learn it with us. And let me check here other messages. Nathaniel saying that chars doesn't really allocate that much extra memory, but I don't need to use the chars. So I don't need to use the chars here over the row. If, for example, I have those 3 ones here, 1, 1, 1, and I need to get the enumerate over it. Can I use other things like either directly? I don't know, but maybe I can try. Okay, and Woody is saying that the real performance gain would come from better cache. Okay. If I'm using this the struct, yeah. Okay. Cool. Nice. Yeah. Well, for me at least, this kind of this code style is starting to be more clear. I'm reading lots of Rust code. I'm participating in some meetups, online meetups on the Berliners. I have been joining Berliners.rs, which is a group from Berlin, and I have got some links from them, people that works on Mozilla. I'm reading some code on my learning journey, and it's starting to get more comfortable for me to read this code style. Yeah, I know that you said that maybe using a for over the iterator would be easier to understand and to express to newcomers, including me, that I'm a newcomer in Rust, but I'm starting to like this code style, and I'm starting to understand, for example, when I have to use the operators and when I can use methods. For example, when I'm comparing stuff, when I'm using operators like equal, I'm getting Boolean, but I can use partial CMP or partial wiki, and I'm going to get the enum variant, and that's powerful. And I just started to understand that, so this style of coding is getting better. And I don't know how to pronounce this name. I think it's U4UK3R. Thank you for following and joining Code Show. And we are learning Rust. And if you want to learn, welcome. If you want to help me learning, welcome also. Thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, and also Zayn, thank you for following. Everyone, thanks for following. Okay, next step. Next step here is I have chart index, row index, minefield, and I think everything right now is going to be implemented inside this count mines function, our next step. Let me see. Do I have uptime command? I don't know if I have this implemented. I think I don't have it. Oh, that's bad. I need to implement this command on my chat, but I think I'm already here. I'm already here, almost 2 hours. Yeah, okay, I have a little more time, and then we are going to implement this count mines, because things started to get interesting here. Yeah, and I'm not sure if I have to put this asterisk in a constant. Do I have any advantage if I come here and I create a constant? How can I say that? Bomb. It's a bomb. No, it's not a bomb. It's a mine. And I create a char of being in the asterisk. Maybe just a little, very little performance improvement, and it's not worth the extra line of code I have. But it's going to be better like this, right? And if I need to use this later, it's going to help also. Yeah. Rabugento is asking me if I work for Red Hat in Brazil or at Gringa, or well, I work for software quality engineering at Red Hat, and my team is located in North Carolina. So I only work with people from US and other places like Europe, India, China, all the other countries. So we I go to the Red Hat Brazil office sometimes, but to be honest, there's more than 1 year the last time I have been there. Yeah, I go to the office I think once a year, and my work is almost everything is remote, and all my team is remote, mostly in US, and that's it. Yeah. And the Red Hat engineering team is spread across the world, many countries, and we have open positions. So go to jobs.redhat.com. There are some, if you like Python, if you like test automation with Python, we are doing mostly this. Yeah, we are not doing lots of Rust yet, but maybe in the future. We haven't at Red Hat. We have 2 projects using Rust. We have Inarx. Inarx is a trusted execution environment stuff, and it's developed in Rust. I'm interested in taking a look. I know the guys that are developing it, but I have not touched it yet. So the code I think is in GitLab. Oh, it's in GitHub, Inarx, and it's a Red Hat sponsored project, and mostly doing like using WebAssembly to isolate the execution environment for applications. So it's just like using WebAssembly as a container engine. So that's an awesome project, and people are taking it very seriously, very well updated. 2 days ago it got the latest update. And the other thing we have in the company, if I it's called Stratus D. Yeah, Stratus D. Well, I don't know how to spell it. It's Stratus D. Red Hat. Let me find it. Is this Stratus is storage? So it's a storage engine, I think, to be used in OpenStack or somewhere else. And also it's implemented in Rust. Most of it, I think, not everything. There are some Python in here, but the core of this storage engine is reading in Rust. It's updated 7 hours ago. People are still working. Yeah. So daemon that manages pool of block devices to create flexible file systems. So this is the other project. I know people are investing in Rust inside the company, and maybe there's more, but I'm not aware about it. Yeah, I know there are other things looking to be using Rust. I want to be using Rust in one of my projects at Red Hat related to test automation, but I'm not there yet. I need to learn first. Yeah, so that's why I'm here. Okay, so I think before I go to the count mines, I need to make this to collect, right? Because I have some red marks here because it's not getting to string, despite what count mines is doing. If I have only mines, for example, I'm going to get the chars here in this map. So I need to collect this map, and now I need to collect it as strings, right? So I can put the return of it, of this map, inside this vector of string. So looks like I'm getting it working. Now is the most difficult part, yeah? Implementing this count mines function. And ideas. I think maybe I can just click here and go to the refactor where I have it and just create function for me. No, I'm not in PyCharm. If it was Python and I was in PyCharm, I could get some function that doesn't exist yet and just right click and ask PyCharm to create the function for me, and it's going to do some magic. But now I need to do that by myself. So okay, so let's create a function called countMines, and it receives, as Nathaniel said, x and y, right? Where's the message? I put some bookmarks here, but I always lost it. Yeah, but he said to call it x and y and then work on it, right? So x is going to be the chart index, y is going to be row index, and we get the mine field. So it's going to get x. And now I need to understand, when I use it enumerate, it turned into a tuple, a pair having chart index here. That's what I was going to ask. Thank you, Wood. I was going to the documentation to understand which type it's returning, but it's usize. Yeah, maybe if I put my mouse here. No, I don't have any documentation for enumerate, but it's usize, right? So here it's going to see usize. Y it's going to be usize, and the mine field, I think I will keep the same notation because I just pass it over my new function. And what this function needs to return, I will count mines inside it, and I'm going to transpose it and increase some counter for every. I will iterate on X and Y. Every time I found something, I'm going to increase some counter, and then I'm going to return a number. Yeah, so maybe I'm going to return an integer, but I need to put this on the string, so maybe I'm just going to return a char. Yeah, and then I will transform the number to the char internally in the function instead of doing this outside, because here on this map mine is a char, so the thing that count mines is returning should also be the same time char. That's why it returns a char. Yeah, and I say char, but others prefer to call it car. Yeah, don't know if I like it. I always confuse it with the actual car. Yeah, so I say char. But I was watching some YouTube talks from the guy that created Diesel framework, and the guy says car, and I think it's very strange. Ribeiro PHP, welcome to Code Show, and thanks for following, and let's learn some Rust with me. So, well, first thing to decide here in this function, if I'm doing this in Python, I was going to take the sizes. Yeah, I'm going to calculate the size of this mine field. So once I receive this matrix, I need to know the maximum size of its rows and the maximum size of its columns. So I need to create these things here. I will do some allocations, some variable attributions, but if I don't need it, I can remove it later, right? So I will say that my max row index, max row size. If I do max row size, I'll get count, for example, 3. But I don't want the size, I want the index. So I can go to that index and do my search. So index is going to be 0 based. So or I get the row size and I apply -1, or I call it index. I think I'll call it index, max row index. It's equal mine field, what more? Mine field, and I can get the length of the mine field, right? And when I get the length of mine field, I get enumerate started at 0. So you should, yeah, so if it's starting in 0, starts in 0? I don't know. I don't have to do -1 because it starts in 0. Okay, so enumerate started in 0 here. I got, for example, here 0, and the char, which is going to be an empty space. And okay. Okay, so the max row index, in this case, I'm getting the char index. Well, but I have the char index, right? I have the position, for example, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, 0, 1, and 2. And if I have the char index, I need to use the char index. No, I don't need to use the char index yet. I just need the minefield land, right? So the minefield land is going to be 3 in this example here. Okay, because I have 3 rows. Okay, so let's try like this. And then I need to get the max char index for that specific row. It's also going to be 3 in this example, but it can be random. I can have more rows or more columns, and I need to calculate it. To calculate it, I'm going to get the minefield. I need to get the row index. The first 0, 1, 2, and then I go at the row index that I'm in, because on that iteration I can be on the middle or the last one. So I'll get the row index, which is y, and getting the y, I will need to get the len of this, right? Because here we have 3, but I can, for example, have on the first, I don't know, I think for this game things must be homogeneous, right? Everything should have the same number of characters. But anyway, I need to take care about it. So I need to take the len of that stuff. Yeah. And Código Falado just came cheering with 100 bits. Thank you so much and welcome. Welcome again to the Code Show. It's always nice to have you here. Código Falado, my friend Fernando, he's a streamer, he's a live coder. This channel is awesome. You should be following Código Falado if you are interested in JavaScript, in front end, and all that kind of stuff. You should come and just go there, follow the channel. Lots of good stuff there, and lots of good ebooks, giveaways, and it's a very happy, nice. I learned a lot about streaming and about how to do this with Fernando. So thank you. You inspire me a lot to be doing live streaming. It's always nice to have you here to say hello. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, today we are doing the Minesweep game in Rust. Minesweep, that little game we have in Windows since the earlier Windows versions, where we have a field with some mines planted there, some bombs that can explode, and we are using Rust to solve the annotation of the hints, how many bombs we can have on each place. So that's being nice. Yeah, it's difficult because we are doing some matrix decomposition here, but it's very nice. Yeah. And Carlos Pai, thank you. Thanks for joining also, and thanks for following. Yeah. Well, so where I was, so I get the maximum of row, the size of the rows, yeah, max row index. So each of the rows. So in this case, for this test case, I have 1, 2, and 3, right? And I have the max char index. That's a coincidence that it's 1, 2, 3. But in other tests, I think we can have different situation like this, for example. We have different sizes on the matrix, and then the calculation is going to be different. So okay, we can't assume that's homogeneous. It can be different, and that was I had in mind until here. I'm now open for your suggestions because I have the size of those things. I know which row I am because I have the row index, right? I have the position of X, I have the position of Y, and now I need to get where the asterisk is. Yeah, I need to find the mine. I need to do a search. But to do a search, I need to first search in the row, and then I need to search in the column. Yeah, so it's going to be 2 iterations. I already did 2 maps here. I mapped it over the rows. I have mapped it over the chars twice. And then inside the count mines, I can think only about doing twice again. I will iterate over it again, maybe. If you have the X and Y coordinates for where you are at, I have it, right? So I know, for example, I can be here where this mine is. I will be in the index 1 for X, and I will be in the index 1 also. I'll be at 1 1 yeah, for the column. Instead of using 0, the example used empty spaces, so you got confused. Okay, yeah, the example used empty spaces. Yeah, I'm not considering empty spaces yet because we are going to consider it inside the count mines, right? Here I have to return mine. I have to return the number, yeah, 1, 2, 3, or how many mines I have around it. I don't have to return empty space anyway. I need to detect the empty space, and in the empty space I need to annotate with the proper number. I think that's the idea, right? What more? Minefield Y gives you the right row. Yeah, Minefield Y is where I'm here, right? Max char index. I have Minefield Y, which is where I am, and I'm getting the len of it because I want to know how far can I go when I'm going to search for the mine. And now I'm going to start looking for that mine because I'm here at the first one. I'll see an empty space, right? And the empty space is telling me that somewhere in that row or in that column I can have a mine, and I need to do twice the search. I have to iterate over it again. I'll try, right? So for doing the search, I will create a counter. So let counter equals 0, and I will be Nathaniel is sharing a hint, which is as bytes. Yeah, and Carlos Pai is saying the same thing that Wood said before. If we use a struct to organize the code, I like that idea. I love that idea, and I think we are going to try that once I can have it working without it. Yeah, I'll try to do the simple thing first, and then after maybe try to implement that way. Yeah. But it's going to be, I think if I have a struct, I don't need this count mines function, right? I just have a struct for minefield, and I have methods implemented inside that. Just a matter of namespacing, yeah. But let me see this link that Nathaniel is sharing. Always good stuff to be looking at. As bytes, I have this method. So what is this? It converts a string slice to a byte slice. To convert the slice back into the string slice, use the from UTF-8. Okay. So I'll keep it open because it looks like I'll need to take all this white spaces stuff and try to convert to bytes, and then do my search over the bytes, right? Instead of either on it, and then after I collect it as a string. I collect it as a string slice, yeah. But what I'm thinking now, I'm going to take the suggestion of Woody, I guess. Wood said that I can use a for instead lots of maps. So instead of doing a map again over the minefield, I'll do a for, right? So for and now it's difficult to name inside it because I already have X and Y. I'm already receiving X and Y position here, and now I want to iterate over X and Y again, and I need to name it, call it X and Y again. I can't do because I need to go each row again and each chart again, the same way I did here with the maps in my first approach. I can't call it for Y in for Y in Y for item in wow. Let me think. My row index here, which is I'm receiving here in Y. Row index. I don't want to get confused by the names, but row index is the Y. Row index is the Y. And I want to iterate over the row index. I want to iterate over it. No, I don't want to iterate over it. I want to iterate over the maximum. Yeah. So I know that I have 3 positions, but I don't. I want to iterate over all the positions. And for each one, I'm going to test if it's a mine or not, right? And then every time I can match over it, I will increase this counter. And by increasing this counter, I know how many bombs I have, both on X, Y, and I can look at all the places. Let me try it. So how can I call it? I'll call it _Y. It's not going to be good. I'll call for, oh my god, I think I'm just going to change the name of this. If I don't change it, I'm going to get confused, right? I'm going to change the name to use char index and row index instead of what I was using before. And now I can change it to row index. It's clear for me. And now I can have for Y and row index. So for example, row index is going to be 1, 2, or 3, or 0 anyway. And if row index is like this, I need to get a range. So now what I want here is to iterate over a range object, a range inclusive. I think it's something like this, the name of the object that I want to create here. I want a range where I can iterate over the size of that thing, and then get to the latest element, and for each one I'm going to check if it's a mine or not. And Nathaniel is saying that maybe I can do easily by just checking minefield row index Y as bytes. Yeah, so you think that I can get, I'll try, let me try so I can get back to my comment here. So what you are saying is that I can just get my car like this. I rename it. So this is row index and this is the char index. And then I could do, for example, I still need a counter, right? Still need a counter. So my counter is going to be 0, starting on 0. And now I need to count the mines that are surrounding that char. Okay, I know that the char is this one. This is the point where I am. So for example, if I am here on the first row, second position, I know that I have 1 mine. But to be able to count it, I need to iterate over what I was doing before, yeah? Yeah, I know that's not a bomb, yeah. Because I did that here on the match, yeah. So maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. Let me get back. I can try it this way before, but I think even being not the best solution, for sure, this range inclusive that I'm thinking here, maybe it's most consuming way, but I think it's going to work. Let's make this work. So if I have for every item on this range, which I'm going to call Y, just because I'm doing the iteration again over the minefield, right? So I'm going to take the minefield one more time, and I'm going to search for the bomb, or the mine, and then I'm going to count how many possibilities I have around it. So I need to iterate it again. So I'll do that 4 times. I'll iterate 2 times for Y, 2 times for X. So my idea is to take the row index, which is, for example, 0, 1, and 2 in this case, and I want to go from 0 to the latest one. The same thing I did here, the same thing I did with the map, I'm going to do with the 4, because Wood suggested in the chat, and then I will have the both styles here. So how can I create a range inclusive from row index? I think I can just put 2 dots here, and if I need it to be inclusive, I need to put equal sign, right? And I want to go until the latest possible row. The latest possible row will be max row index, right? Something like this. So I go from 0. This max row index is the len. The len is 3. And now I have 0, 1, and 2. And that's why I need -1 here, right? -1 and -1. Okay. Yeah. And then I will go from row index, and this is going to create, yeah, so this is the syntax to create that object that I think it's called range inclusive or something like this. And to create this object, I use something, I create this range object, range struct, using ... So here I have, for example, I can do for y in 0.9 and do my for loop inside this range. So this object here is going to be a range. If I put an equal sign here, I think it's going to be a range inclusive. Yeah. So what I want is the range inclusive, because I need the latest row. And well, I think that's it. So inside this for, I will do the next for, right? I'm doing now 1, 2, 0, 1, and 2 in the rows. Now I need to do the other way. I need to go each character. So now I'm going to call this X. That's why I changed the name of the functions there. So for every X in, now it's not row index, it's char index. Because, for example, I know that I'm on the 3, if I'm here on the first one and the second, I know that I'm already in this, but I need to go until the latest one. So it's going to be the same, until the range inclusive having the max char index that I did before. And this solution looks pretty much like the solution in Python. If I share my Python solution, it's just like this, but using Python slices and iterators, which is easier to understand at the first glance. Yeah. So now inside this, which is very wrong in some way. Yeah. Let me see. Elio is saying that I can access directly the neighbors based on the XY. Yeah, but how can I access directly without doing these for loops? That's what I was thinking, because I know where I am and I know I have the minefield. To take the position on the minefield, I don't know if I can do, for example, if it was Python, I could do like this. I could get the row index here and I could do the char index here, but that's the same. That's the same what Nathaniel shared. It's where my character is located, right? But I don't know. I don't want the character where the character is located. What I want is I want to search all the other characters to be try to look for how near it is from the mine. Yeah. Or I'm overcomplicating it. I'm doing lots of maybe there's an easy way and I'm overcomplicating because I'm thinking about iterating again. I have to use double fors and the indexing together. Double fors and the indexing together. How is that? Mismatched types. That's the problem I have here. Expected char and found. You mean that I can iterate in a single for? Double fors and the indexing together. I'm trying to get this comment. I think the problem is that max row index. Max row index. Not row index. No, I think it's right. The only problem is that I'm not returning the char, and that's why it's giving me the error here, right? I think now internally inside this for, what I need to do is I need to test to check if the nearest character is equal the mine that I have is in the constant, right? So now that I have y and x, I can use the code that now I can use the code that Nathaniel shared, right? Now I can use that code. Now I can get the minefield y, and from that minefield y I can take the x position. Yeah, now I got it. And this is something that I will compare to see if it's a mine. If it's a mine, I will increase the counter and say that I found a possibility, and then I go to the next one until I have the counter increased, right? So what I can do here is I can have an if. I can have an if here. S bytes x. I really need to take s bytes. What if I just take this y as chars? Why would I use bytes instead of chars here? Because I was thinking about having like minefield y chars, and then from chars I can take this nt8, and this nt8 is going to get my x, and That's it. That was my idea. Take as a char, and then instead of using, I don't know if I can use directly this accessing like this, but I think I can't. Maybe I need to use this NT8 and pass the index here, right? And then I put an if here. So if this is equal mine, I can increase the counter. So I can say counter plus equal 1. Something like this. You can do, I can do directly without using that NTH, right? Yeah. I'm just trying to get why I would use sbytes instead of using chars if I received chars right here on the mine field. I already got row chars here, and also I'm returning a char. As bytes is more efficient because internally the string is a byte vector, right? But anyway, if I use as bytes, yeah, I'm dealing only with white spaces, right? White spaces and asterisks. I'm not dealing with any UTF-8 data, I guess. So I can try both. Let me try this, but why I having problems yet? Counter plus equal 1 here on the 4. It's ugly. So I finished the, let's say this 4 work like this, and now I have the counter, and if my counter is still 0, what I'm going to return is an empty space because I have no mine, right? Still returning a char. If it's different than 0, then I'm gonna take that number 1, 2, or 3 because I already got through all the matrix and counted how many mines I had there, and then I need to take that number and convert that number to char. Then maybe I can do char from and just use the counter here. Maybe it's wrong, but I don't know if you got my idea. My idea was this. Why I have this char mismatched types? I have option here. I have option. I need to do an E flat, so I would need to do an E flat, E flat, flat, sum. I'll call it C equal minefield at this position, right? And then if this is something here inside, I will check if C equal mine, and then I will increase the counter. Yeah, so that solves the first problem. Cannot assign twice to the immutable counter. I need to have counter as a mutable. Mut counter. Counter. Now it's nice. And I have problems here. Use size. Okay. Y is only used to index minefield. The loop variable y is only used to index minefield. I have not used it here. No, I used it here. Index minefield. Needless range loop. Yeah, so I don't need this range loop. Oh, I don't get it. Okay, so I don't need this over thinking on if let here. Thank you, Nathaniel, again. So I can do directly. If minefield and it equals sum, and I put the mine inside it like this, and remove this complication here, and just increase the counter. Right. Okay, now I still have some warnings here saying that the loop variable y is only used to index minefield, and it's a clippy message. Maybe I don't care a lot about it, or maybe this range is wrong. Yeah, but let's see. I want to see compiler giving me errors, because there's a long time that I don't have compiler errors, and I like compiler errors. I don't have compiler errors. That's cool. Oh, interesting. I never wrote lots of code in Rust like this, compiled and have not compile errors, and that's so nice. Yeah, so I was expecting to have some mismatched types and all that stuff, but I still have problems with the tests. Oh, look at this. I have this being prefixed by /u of the chars, so that's why I don't have to use the chars. So that's a good answer to my question. Yeah. So now I'm going to take a look at the comments. I know lots of things happening here. Wood is saying that just look at the Rust docs, and I can do string X directly without this nth, right? I think the thing here is that if I'm taking chars is going to return another object. Maybe it's an iterable, right? And this thing is only being accessed by nth. But if I do directly without this chars, maybe I can put directly the X there, and I can have the panic if I try to access a bad index, so it's not safe. Yeah, I'll try to do the way Nathaniel said, using bytes, because maybe it's solving this problem here. You see, here on the message, I have this as Unicodes, not as chars. Or I can convert it. Yeah, I know, I can use something. I saw that. I can use standard char from digit. Yeah, use this, and I can take this value here. Instead of doing counter char from, I can use from digit. Yeah, and then from digit I can pass the number of counter here, and this base will be the decimal base, right? Like this. And then I think I will get rid of this the thing here. Test it. Oh, it's an option. So if it's an option, I need to unwrap it. Unwraps everywhere. I will replace this unwrap with something, I think, but my test is still fading. But yeah, now I get rid of the Unicode characters. Yeah. Okay. And my problem is still that I think this -1 here, maybe it's the problem, because look, let me put some zoom here in this thing. Look at this. I was expecting it, and I'm getting it. Looks like I iterated over the only two positions, missed the 31 and all the places, and I missed the third row because it's getting empty. So I think that's why this thing is yellow here. I need to do a better for loop. Yeah. Let me see. I think the problem is that I can be in, for example, second position, and my max row index is the third one. And if I iterate from the second to the third one, I'll get one more. I need to do -1 again here when doing the for loop. But if I do the -1 again and I am in the first position, which is 0, I'm going to have an error because I can do -1 on the 0. Yeah. And what's happening here in the chat? Let me see. You guys are sharing some links. I'm going to open here these links. What is this? String cannot be. Okay, I can't do this, but for example, I could do like nth 2 directly on the string. No, but I could do chars nth 2. Looks like not. But why my code is compiled, right? Okay, let's focus on this. You are getting an empty car for some of them because the NT8 is returning unknown. Okay, NT8 is returning unknown. It's okay. NT8 is returning an option, and it can be none. And I'm okay. I'm doing the if only in the sum, but there is the case for the none. Yeah. So I can do an else here, or I can just resolve it. Not an else. If I do an else, I would need to decrease the counter. The best way is to take this on the for loop itself. So in the for loop itself, I can check it. Yeah. Maybe that's the idea. Check on the for loop itself. So if I can check on the for loop itself, I can do like row index. Row index is taking me. Let me think. Row index dot. I need to do -1 here. That's the thing. But I know I can't do the -1 directly. I need to call a method over the row index, and the row index is usize. And to call this method over usize, I need to go to the Rust documentation and look at the usize. So I'll do what my gut feeling is telling me to do. In the usize, I have some methods, and I can call the subtraction method directly without using the minus there. Yeah, so not here. None option. Where is that implemented? Usize primitive type. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. And I can call the sub. There must be a sub. No, there's no subtraction. Saturating sub. Saturating integers compute self. Mary, no. Let me see another one like checked sub. Subtraction. Computes returning none if overflow. Yeah, that's what I want. Checked sub. So I'll do a checked sub here. Checked sub. And I will try to subtract 1 from this. And maybe I don't need to subtract here at the top because I'm already subtracting here. But I'm not sure. And as it's going to return an option, I need to unwrap it. And I will unwrap it. but I will unwrap or return 0. That's the thing. So look at this. I get the row index, and for example, if it's 0, I'm on the first number here, on the first row, this one. I can mark the whole line, but if I'm here, I'll get 0. I will try to subtract 1, 0 minus 1, and it's going to return none. If it's return none, I assume that I'm on the position 0. If it doesn't return none, I just subtract 1, and then I get back 1 step, right? And then I will do the same with the other thing. No. I'm on the right track here? Please tell me, but looks like I am. I know you guys are talking about string slicing, yeah? But I'm not sure if this string slice is being the same case I have here. I just want to avoid this as being none, but I don't want to have an else here, because if I have an else here, what I'm going to do, subtract the counter, doesn't make sense. My problem is that if I have sum and the sum is mine, I'm increasing the counter. If not, I'm not doing anything. So I need to do it like this. But for this max row index, I still need to get if it's the latest one, yeah, or if I already iterated. So I'll need to get the minimum, and to get the minimum, okay, I'll use it. What can I use? I can use the standard compare. I think I have a public function there called min, right? Standard compare min. And there's a question here. Philippe is asking where is Rust used? So to ask your question, I will say that you can go to my YouTube channel. I'll go there again. And I have a video where I recorded some months ago. It's in Portuguese. And this video is where exactly your question, where Rust is used. So I'll paste the link here for you. You can watch this video in Portuguese. I don't have English subtitles yet, but this video I'm showing some areas where Rust is used. For example, WebAssembly. I showed that it can be used for CLI applications, for web development, REST APIs, and embedded applications. There's a good example of embedding here where the guy created a clock using Rust. Games, so lots of things. Yeah, this is in English only on Tuesday, and then in Portuguese on Thursday. Yeah, but you can watch this video if you are interested in learning where you can use Rust. Yeah. Okay, I'm using this min because I can get the minimum. I need the minimum here. I'm just going with my flow of thinking here. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but I don't know if that conversation about the string slicing is something that I can apply here, right? I'm trying to follow, but I don't know. And Nathaniel is saying that maybe I can use saturating sub. I just saw it here. I saw a thing called saturating sub here. Wow, where is it? Saturating sub. What's the difference of saturating sub over the checked sub? Saturated integer subtraction compares two things and it's going to get the bounds instead of overflowing. Okay, so saturated sub is going to do exactly what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to do unwrap or 0, and that saturating sub is resolving this for me, right? Okay, saturating sub, good. Multiple things to do, multiple ways to do the same thing. So now I need to go from 0 or whatever position -1, but now I need to get the minimum of either the row index, the max row index, or the row index +1. I don't know. And Clippy is still telling me that I don't need this Y because it's using only to index minefield. Needless range loop. Why are you saying that it's needless? Okay, so I need to do the same thing here. Saturating sub on this in here. Chart index, saturating sub. And also here I need to take the minimum. I'm not okay with that +1 here, but it's to express that I want to go to the latest one, or if I'm already at the latest, or if I'm not at the latest, I want to go to the latest. So or I go to the max, or I go to the chart index that I am +1, right? And then I'll try to run the test case, and I think it's yeah, it's passing. Yeah, it solves the problem that here this was returning none before, right? And now it's not returning none because I got this on the for loops itself. I know it's not good because maybe using this computation here is not performatic a lot, but I could I don't have nonce here. If it was returning none, I was going to have empty spaces where I don't need. I don't know if I'm using bytes. I can avoid the use of from digit here, so that's what I'm going to try right now. I'm going to try to replace this line here with bytes x directly like this. I'm not sure if it's going to be sum, but it's going to be mine directly. But mine is char, right? And then I can't compare char with this, only if I do like store this as a byte, so it's going to change lots of things. Yeah, it returns U8, and then I want to get this as U8. Can I do that? Well, lots of messages, and I want to see the actual thing fading. Yeah, expected char and found because I didn't get here. I have not entered into this if no, I have also I forgot to put the comment here. Well, good, I'm back on the place where I was. Well, it's compiling and it's working, but I still need the from digit here. That's the same, right? Because I have counter, and to transform the counter to char, I still need the from digit. I don't have any other way. What's the gain of doing as bytes instead of doing chars? So between those two lines here, 15 and 16, which one, as both are working, there is a better option? Okay, so as bytes is more performatic than chars, because chars needs to be parsing the string, right? And sbyte just returns internal vector of u8. So you are telling that sbytes might be the better option. Thinking about performance, but about readability, I think the line 15 here is better. Who else agrees? If I look in this, for example, here it's clear for me that by the name of the methods that I'm iterating over each of the characters, and I'm taking the character of the position X, and I'm checking if it equals mine, some mine. Because it returns option, it can be no. But at this, I have to think a lot, because I will need to think as bytes, and I will need to think how it's being indexed, and there's the conversion of mine as u8. I prefer the first solution, this one, even knowing that the second one is the better, but for readability I prefer the one. And well, I still have more tests here, which I'm not running, and I think I need to try to run it. So I will run all the ignore tested. Oh. Okay, 0. Oh, yeah, 7 passive. 7 test cases passive. Okay, I need to use that command line where I can do include ignore it, but I need to pass the what's that command line? Allow unstable features or something like this. Let me find it. Cargo test allow unstable features. Yeah. -z unstable options. -z unstable options. Yeah, that's it. So I have 12 tests passing. Okay. Can I use this together with cargo watch? Cargo watch. I have multiple levels of this. No. Oh. Wrong. I think I have to do cargo watch test directly. No. Anyway, let's just do manually. But okay, everything is passing, and I don't think I have enough time to be implementing the same thing as a struct as Wood and I think Carlos was suggesting, and I'm still not happy with this count mines function. Nathaniel, what do you suggest to fix that? Clip warning, because it's saying that I'm not using the Y, but I'm using the Y. And thank you for following, Carmo Jr. Read the clip page. Okay, let's go to the clip page for that. Actually, clip can solve it using cargo fix, I guess. If I click here, it's going to use the skip method and the take. I could try it. Yeah, but it's still yelling at here. Cannot be indexed by any string, because if I did that, maybe I need to use E right now. No, it messed the whole thing. Don't like it. Let's get back to where it was. Yeah. Okay. Let me go to the Clippy page. Okay, needless range loop. What it does, it checks for looping over the range of some collection just to get the values by index. Just like the enumerate, right? Why is this bad? Just iterating the collection itself makes the intent more clear and is probably faster. Okay, I agree with that. I could do a for loop directly on the iterable instead of using the len of it. But look, in this case, I'm not just iterating over. I'm applying some subtraction. I'm applying some things in it. I would need to apply it inside the for, maybe. Like if I re-implement this for, like for y in row index, no, for y in minefield, right? For y in minefield, like this. So that's what Clip wants me to do, for y in minefield. So now instead of getting minefield y, I can just get here the y directly, right? Looks good, but I think the result is going to be wrong. Everything is going to fail because now I'm not applying this. So I would need to create new variables inside here and apply that subtraction and counting if I'm checking if I'm in the end of the line inside the for. Yeah, I need to limit the range for my for loop. So I could do is I could slice over it, right? Maybe. But I think that's going to be the same. What cargo fix changed to it? Okay. So let's get that thing back. I understood why it's wrong, and I know it's wrong, for example, in any other language. For example, I always be using Python as example, but in Python, if I have, for example, a list of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to print it, instead of doing for y in range over the length of that list, and then inside here do something like print the list getting the y. This is something we don't do because the list is iterable, so we can just do for y in list print directly y. So that's the same thing that Clip is saying, that instead of creating a range, I can iterate over the y. But my problem is I'm not just iterating over the y. I'm taking the size of the y as an index, and I'm counting the boundaries of it. Yeah. But what if I only wanted the range from 1 to 2? How would do that in Python? Well, I would slice over the list. Yeah, I would just create a slice. So what you are saying, that I can apply this range as a slice. Yeah, makes sense. So instead of doing this, I would do for y in minefield, but now I'm going to apply a slice on it. And when applying this slice, I can use these boundaries, the same boundaries, right? I think I can just copy paste this thing over there. I guess. I'm not sure about it. The syntax. No, very wrong. The size for values cannot be known at completion time. Right. The size cannot be known at completion time. I need E. I need E over row index. Oh, I need E over minefield to be able to slice it, right? Yeah. And then I need to take also E as... I don't need to take it as a slice because I'm calling chars over it. And then tests are passing. That's great. Okay, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I was not totally wrong with the logic, but with the implementation. And if I would use your solution here, it's going to be the same, like using y here as bytes. Let me remove these bad comments, and just to see if it's working the same way. Whoa, yeah, it's working. I will leave as using as bytes just because, you know, you said that it's a little bit better. And okay, I think that's all, right? I will not jump into implementing a struct yet, just because it's taking 3 hours of streaming and I will have no extra time to do that, but maybe I'll do that later. I like the idea that you guys gave about, instead of using this count mines here, I maybe implement a mine field struct and put all those things inside there. But anyway, I think if I do that, it's only it said it run 0 tests. That's what it said. No, it run 12 passed. Oh, it's the doc tests. When I run like this with unstable options, it tries to run doc tests after it runs the actual unit testing. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible to disable this. Maybe there is a no doc test flag there, but it runs twice. I have been confused with it many times before until I learned about this doc tests, and as I don't have any comments, it gives all this message, but all the tests are passing here. And well, it was difficult. It was very difficult, but I could do that only because I have done this in Python before. If I have not done this in Python before, maybe I would not be able to do this exercise in this way and thinking all this possibility. It's difficult. And you said at the beginning that there is no right answer to that, right? There is no right way to solve it. But I already learned that, for example, as bytes is better than doing over the chars. I learned what more? I learned about this, which is instead of creating the range, iterate over the iterator, which is very obvious. It's what we do in all the other languages. I'm not happy about doing lots of this force. Yeah, I'm iterating twice here on the map, and I'm iterating twice again on the count lines. I don't know, maybe I could do this only here. Was that possible? Because here I'm already in the index, I'm already in the row and in the column. Maybe instead of using this count lines, I don't know if it was possible. But anyway, I'll need to search. I need to do the search inside the minefield again. I don't think there is a solution where it can be with less computational complexity. I think we need to iterate all the rows and columns, and then we need to do that later again. I can't see a way to improve this to do in a single shot, in a single iteration. Maybe if we have a state machine, yeah, maybe if we have the struct or something that we can be, but anyway, if we do that, we will need to be storing the state somewhere and increasing the counter, dynamically creating the return object on every iteration here. And what I think is interesting is that here on the exercise tag it says board state. The previous one said generic overtype and enums. That's okay. The space age said front rate, trait implementation, and traits. So this board state here makes me think that Carlos and Woody, which is on the chat, this makes me think they are maybe right on suggesting the implementation of a struct, because to get the board state, I think we need the struct, right? Then if we have the struct, maybe we can avoid these lots of iterations. So I don't know, but I will not do this right now. Which parts I'm not happy? I'm not happy with this from digit here. I have the counter as a number. How can I have the counter as a char, and how can I increase the counter as a char directly without having the need to do the from digit conversion? Yeah, because it's simple. Maybe I could use a format, but maybe it's more consuming because I have an integer here, right, on the counter, integer 32, and I could just replace this with, for example, a call to format, and in this call to format I will try to create a car like this. Format return a string and my function needs a char, and then I would need to return the string to char, and that's the same thing as from digit. Yeah, I think just syntactically it's not good that I can't just again I will use Python. In Python, if I have a number, integer like a counter equals 3, and I want to print it as an integer, I would just print counter, right? And if I want to print it as a string, I just use fstring and I format it directly and put the counter inside it. If I need to represent it as a byte, I can just do like this and use a b prefix for byte, and then format the counter here. So I'm just saying that it's a byte, but okay, just as a comparison, it's very different, right? And well, what more? Hey, thank you for following BRNNB. Thank you, welcome to the Code Show. We are at the end of this stream, but we are learning some Rust today. I can add B0. Okay, here, well, I can add B0, but what I want is B0. Well, I'll leave it as it is, but I'm not happy with this line. I will try during the week to think in another solution to this. Like I have integer and I need to return the byte from it. Looks like the front digit is the thing made for it, right? But it's not beautiful. Yeah. How do you represent that in one char? Okay. The reason front digit can fail, what if count is 10? Okay, if count is 10, how I represent that in one chart? I don't, yeah. I would do, well, I don't, but I don't think there's test cases for that, right? Let me see. We have single cars here, 2, 5. Yeah, I think that this exercise assume that each position is a single char, and the single char is a number 0 to 9. It's not 31, right? It's 3 and 1. So for this game, I think it's not going to have a problem because we can't have 10, right? We can have 10 because the matrix doesn't allow us. I think the far we are going here is like 3. Actually, the far we are going here is 9. Is 9, because if the number is in the middle, we are going to have 9, just like this second example here. Yeah, 8, and maybe the biggest number is going to be 9. Now the biggest number in this solution is going to be 8 because the 9th is the mine itself. Yeah, but it can count to 10. It's going to fail. Yeah, and that's why we put the 10 here, right? The second thing here, let's say radix here is something else called a base. No, it's the base. Okay, it's the decimal base. So I would need to have another check here. So I would need to do some kind of else if counter is like this, right? Then it's not going to fail, but also it's not going to compile. And to make it to compile, maybe I'll need to include another return. Well, doesn't matter. I think it's not worth. I think if what I would do is if it's a 10, I would just panic, and then Rust is just going to panic for me anyway. So I would not take care of this problem. Yeah, but what if now you are going to kill me? What if I replace it with a match counter, and then if it's 0, I return an empty car, and if it's not 0, I can call it C, and then I can return from digit and do the same stuff there, which is going to be 10. I need to do the unwrap anyway, and I can put a guard here, like if C is less than 10, and in any other case just panic for me. Okay, not too much different, yeah, than doing with ifs. And I can call this like this because I need the block, right? No, everything is wrong here. I could add a second condition. Cool. Or just let it panic, yeah? Oh, here is not counter, here is C. Yeah, that's why it was failing. I need to get the number from the counter that I just renamed it to C. I'm curious, will that work? Yeah, that works. That works, but I know if I have only two options, I'm not supposed to do a match with only two variants. It's better to do if. But the match looks beautiful. It's prettier than the if, right? Yeah, we only have 9 terms in the loop, but just as I don't know, as a safe check. And I think I'll leave the match here. What do you think about it? What do you guys think about it? Do you prefer the version with the match over the counter or the version with the if? It's doing the same, but I think the match is prettier. Only 2 options, but it looks good. Yeah, I learned that if we have only 2 options, maybe the match is not the best solution, but it looks so good. And we have one less line of code. And you are learning Rust and English at the same time. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm also learning Rust and I'm also learning English. Sometimes I do some English mistakes. Yeah. From digit counter 10. Okay. Oh, and here. So okay, you were not against the match. So in any other case, you just do counter directly instead of assigning a new variable inside the match. And then but looks like I'm going to have a problem. Why? Let me see. No, that was the code. So I'm going to let the match there because it's beautiful. And then we use cool features. And okay. You are still proponent of use if, yeah. I have to use if all the time in Python. I have to use if in JavaScript most of times. And sometimes I like to see that match. Do you think there's some difference in abstraction about using match or an if? I think at the end the compiler is going to improve it to be as fast as an if, right? Cool. Okay, I don't think there is any other thing, so just to finish this, I will submit my exercise. Submit. Okay, FMT, right? Okay, thanks. Cargo FMT. Cool. Oh. Not lots of changes because I already have some hints here on the editor, but yeah. And I'm going to submit. And let's take this solution link. Oh, why I can't copy it? Oh, looks like I need to follow it. Oh, I can't copy right now. and I will paste the link here on the chat for if you guys want to take a look. But I recommend you to try doing the Rust track from the beginning and not looking at the solution. What I'm doing is, before I came here in the Tuesdays to do the Rust track, what I do is I go and I look at the README of the exercise and I see if I can understand it clearly and how difficult it would be. And if I think it's really difficult, I jump back to the Python track. And if you are comfortable with any other language like Bash, Go, JavaScript, and any other of these languages, most of the exercises exist for all the languages. So you can resolve the same thing in other languages. Like there's PHP here. So I don't know if people that came from the PHP live stream is here, but I think you are going to have the same exercises here in PHP. Yeah, we have anagram, we have all this thing. It's interesting. I will try some PHP later. But what I do usually, I go to the Python and I try to do the same exercise in Python. And when I feel comfortable with the idea of the exercise, then I can here on the Rust streaming and try to do the same thing. Yeah, because if I haven't done that, I think I would take at least 5 or 6 hours to finish this exercise without thinking a lot what I was going to do. Yeah. I know it can be better. I like the idea of having structs, but yeah, it's working and that's cool. So thank you a lot, everyone. And I will also remember that we have a Discord server. The link is on the chat, I guess. I think my bot's not working. Yeah. Oh, it's working. It's just lazy. There's this Discord link. I hope this link is working. Yeah. And we are just starting to use Discord. All the community around the Code Show channel usually are on Telegram. We are discussing what's the topics to be talking about on the videos. But I started using this Discord, and what I like here is that I can have Portuguese and I also can have English content. So I have these two categories here. So we have English rooms, so we can have people, for example, talking about Rust. There's no one yet, but everyone will be welcome there. And we have people talking in Portuguese on these Portuguese channels, and there are already some discussion happening about the projects we are doing in Python on Thursday. There are also some discussions around Rust on Portuguese channel, some things about music, games, whatever, but the main focus here is that we can take ideas. What do you want to be discussing? So for example, I will do for this exercism, I will just go here on live streaming to finish this mentor track, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have more 5 exercises to do. After I finish those 5 exercises, then I will start doing different things here. Maybe we can start a project. I have a side project called Dynaconf, which is in Python, and I have plans to port it to Rust. And also I started some time ago a little project called makectl, and the idea of makectl is that we can have templates to generate make files. Yeah, I use make files a lot in all my projects, and this the idea here is to have a command line application that can manage our make files for us, and we can reuse the same make file across the project. So maybe after all these exercises, I'll jump in one of those projects, and then we are going to do real things, and then everyone can be participating the same way we are doing with this Python Flask every Thursday here on the Code Show. So everyone can join our Discord channel, and please let's talk about the ideas there. And that's it. And thanks everyone who just joined it and are following the channel. And well, that's it. Salve. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. I see you Thursday. We are going to talk about Python, and also I'll have a different thing here. I'll give some bread bakery recipes. Maybe this week or next we are going to have some bread making. I'll move all my setup to my kitchen, and I will put my hands in the dough and do some breads alive. Bread and code at the same time. Let's see what's going to happen there. Okay, so Nathaniel, thanks a lot again. You are always helpful, and thank you so much. Thank you Woody, thank you Elio, thank you Carlos, everyone who joined it and learned or helped me to learn Rust. Have a very good night, and see you in the next code show. Thanks, bye. And I will do a raid. Let me see with who we have here to raid. Yeah, I like to do that. It's something interesting for the Twitch community to do raids, and I always try to find something related to what we are doing. Let me see if I can have someone doing some Rust. I don't think. But we have here, for example, Strager. Strager is nice. I think he's reading Twitch bot, and I will just send you guys there. Just say hello, and he's a very nice guy. That's it. Thanks you a lot, and see you next.